Well, this is definitely a game by Nintendo, and this section is definitely offsetting. But why is that? Donkey Kong Bananza should be really upbeat, and it was definitely marketed like it was another Mario-style adventure full of fun moments and cool places to discover. Donkey Kong himself seems like a nice and lovable goofball. So what's different about this place specifically? Let's start at the beginning. Whenever you are diving down here, the entire sinkhole is different. There are gold sprouting roots surrounding the sinkhole, and the light at the bottom is a completely golden color. The music is also different and much more eerie, with a constant droning sound toward the beginning. And then once the music starts to crescendo into the main theme, it's a jumble of many different sounds, with the droning sound having this loud sort of wind instrument sound. And in case you really haven't figured it out yet as to if this is the end of the game, Pauline spells it out for you and says,
"This area feels different."
Once you make it into the golden light of the sinkhole, the area reveals itself to be the forbidden layer. This layer has absolutely no music to introduce itself, just ambience. It's such a shift from the style that this game has tried to convey, and it's definitely a neat contrast that, for the player, creates a sort of cautious tension. The area has shifting blocks that change from gold to slippery neptunite in a constant pattern. As Donkey Kong makes his way further through the encased section, he can punch his way out and walk into the do not enter depths. This is where the beauty of the forbidden layer makes itself apparent. The golden heavenly light of the skybox mixed in with the almost empty setting is just stunning. Really makes you feel like you've made it to some type of far lands or out of bounds section of the game, which I think is a really great comparison that I just made up. The security fractones and the ones that you encounter throughout this level essentially tell you you are not supposed to be here. This area is off limits, and I think these interactions really sell the idea of Donkey Kong and Pauline traveling into an out-of-bounds area of the world, which feels really uncanny. Let's not forget the music either. The music here is very unique compared to the rest of the layers. As soon as you enter, you hear a sound of a bell ringing off in the distance. This, for me at least, created a sense of urgency, like, oh no, your time is up, and this is the final stretch, and you must hurry to make sure Void Kong does not get what he wants. That's what it felt like for me, but you only hear these distant bell sounds in the intro of the ambience. The music then starts with a synth sound. The music repeats the same notes over and over, echoing throughout the layer. The music develops more and more and adds some more sounds into the mix. All of this culminates into one of the most eerie, yet immersively ambient tracks out of any Nintendo game. It really feels like a direct inspiration of Akira Yamaoka in his work on the Silent Hill series. The music, after bribing the Securitones, transitions into an electro version of the main theme, with the environment having the ability to create walking paths made out of passage stone. As Donkey Kong progresses through the level, walking on air essentially, he makes it to the go no further gate. The music comes to a complete standstill here, with only the bell tolling. This is the heartbeat of the forbidden layer. There are a few fractones that really stand out here. First, we got the singing fractone merchant who has no idea of the brevity of the situation. It sings, and if you talk to it, it talks about the unfriendly faces of these fractones, which leads us to the fractone group hiding out here. They tell you to be quiet and to stop making sound. Now, why is this? Well, the only actual reason for them telling DK to be quiet is because the Banandium root is sleeping. Well, once DK goes to investigate past the gate, he can see the Banandium root softly beating in place. And this actually turns out to be something much different than the Banandium root. After defeating Void Kong, he runs up to the Banandium root in a last-ditch attempt to make a wish. But, uh-oh, the Banandium root isn't the Banandium root. Go figure. As it turns out, this entire layer was housing King K. Rool. He was sealed here the entire time, and now everything starts to actually make sense. The fractones were so off-putting because they didn't want DK messing with the seal of King K. Rool. That's why they were telling him to leave, and then the ones up at the gate were telling him to be quiet. They were trying to keep DK and Pauline safe. That's why this giant seal was over this area. It was attempting to keep K. Rool out and outsiders from entering in. And that's really the beauty of this layer. This is essentially a giant out-of-bounds area with a seal keeping an extremely powerful force out of reach from prying eyes.